as a business person, I look at what Washington is doing, and if they just weren't all lawyers and teachers and have never been out in the public sector, I would think they're intentionally trying to destroy us.
The uncertainty is the bane of creativity. What every business person's approach is tell me the rules and get out of the way.
We've flipped the Hippocratic Oath. Remember, the Constitution said the powers that aren't designated here are reserved to the people and the states. Washington's taken that on the other side and said, we got all the power, and our job is to do as much as possible, even if it causes harm. That gets more jobs, more power in Washington. So it's flipped.
And that's right, Glenn. From a union perspective, from Andy Stern's perspective, you know, the AFL-CIO membership has finally crossed the Rubicon. Over 50% of all union members in America are, guess what, government workers. So there's an incentive for them to grow government now. And certainly some of the things on this list, we look at number 8, to find out how serious they are about creating jobs and how serious this debate is. Number 8 on that list says, in order to create jobs, we've got to strip workers of their right to vote by secret ballot as to whether or not they're going to be in a union. Then we've got to allow the government to implement private sector contracts by government decree after 90 days of negotiation. How does that create a single job?
This is SEIU's. Who's up on this whole 9-point plan? You are?
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
So let's just go over this. This is what they actually said.
You know what? We got a plan, 9-point plan, create jobs.
Let's go over this one by one. Increasing unemployment, that just is the condition that we're under, right?
They want to extend the unemployment benefits.
Oh, okay, benefits.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's not a good...
That's not an incentive to create
jobs. That sounds
jobs.
like a compassionate thing, but sometimes compassion is not a good thing. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, Joe and I talked about this, and the idea that you know, they're going to extend unemployment benefits. There's a lot of trouble out there, and we want to be receptive and sensitive to that. But the idea of borrowing more money, where does that money come from? It comes from small business people at the state that are paying that or that unemployment insurance compensation, and it just raises the cost on small businesses.
The general perception of the public is this is government largesse. They're being nice to us, and somehow the money finds its way out of some magic coffers in Washington. And the people who don't understand that an extension of the unemployment benefits means they go back to those former employers and say, need some more. That's where it comes from.
There's more. The longer you're out of a job, your skills go down. And so as you extend the unemployment benefits, what the data is showing is that people are going longer and longer without a job. They get stagnant in terms of their skills.
Well, then that's when we can probably create some new teaching opportunities to retrain people. So we've created new jobs. Yeah. Using TARP funds to increase credit for small business, this is just insane.
Glenn, you know, that money was supposedly to save us from the brink of the abyss, and now somehow they're going to use it for this grandiose program. It's just spending and more debt, and doesn't make any sense.
Giving taxpayer money to states and local governments. I'm so tired of this. I mean, look, if I live in a responsible state, if I live in Texas, how dare you ask me to pay for the if I believed that California is the place, California doesn't have any humidity. I love California. I'd love to live out in the sunshine and everything else, but I can't live and do a business out there because they're out of control. Why should I, if I'm living in Texas with the humidity and the bugs about the size of a golf bag, how come I have to go and pay for their lifestyle? It's not right.
That's exactly right. And what that is designed to do, or what they're thinking it's designed to do, is to save 900,000 public sector jobs in states where union monopoly power has made it virtually impossible to get rid of any employee that can't cut the job. Just in Washington, D.C., where I came from today, 30 metro workers were caught violating a zero policy on use of cell phones while they're out there doing their job. The union negotiated some benefits, got it back. I mean, Vallejo, California filed bankruptcy. What they said was they couldn't change the contract which they negotiated with the public employees unions, and so therefore they had no other choice to file Chapter 9 bankruptcy. Detroit public school system. We're going to see more of this, Glenn, and the solution there is not to bail out the states, it's to control union monopoly power.